All right, welcome everyone to our Passion to Payday Success Blueprint Masterclass. I'm Becky Sampson, and this is Heather Laughter. And we're excited to have you join us. Make sure that you put into the chat where you're checking in from us. Also, we want to just make sure. I know with every single class, I know with virtual, sometimes it can be a little difficult because you have a lot of distractions and all kinds of things. So make sure your phones are turned off. Make sure that the do not disturb sign is out on your door, things like that. Because we're going to be going over and deep about your business because your business does matter. And that is one of the things, if you are a woman and you are a mentor, you are a coach and you are a service provider, you are in the right place because we're going to be talking about how important it is to have a success blueprint and how to build your business in a way that's going to help you absolutely catapult and scale and make it something that's going to last beyond that 5 year mark that's out there. So make sure you keep your screens on and uh, and also make sure that you stay to the very end because we have a very, very special bonus and offer for you. So go ahead and do that. All right, we'll go ahead and get started. My name is Becky Sampson, and this is Heather Laughter, and we have over 35 years of combined coaching and mentoring experiences. Um, Helping you know what to do. So Heather is the one that is 19 years as a business coach, almost nearly 20, right? That's crazy. Um, but she helps you know what to do, and I help you actually get it done. And we both, ironically, have in our back pockets many, many years of working in real estate, and most importantly, in new home real estate. So that has been something that has given us a perspective of, look, building a home is very similar to building a business. And so we've come up with the building blocks and you got to make sure you have every single one of them and you've tweaked them right so that you can build your business correct. Because we know that 96% of new businesses fail within the first 3 years, and we do not want you to be that statistic. So thus came the Passion to Payday Success Blueprint. That's how it was built. And we're going to go over a lot of the things that we have learned during this and what we teach and we want you to kind of, as you're going through these building blocks, kind of think to yourself, okay, so where am I, like, where's my business on this? Am I just starting it off? Do I need more tweaking on that or what? So just kind of evaluate where you are and gives you an idea of what you need to work on. Go ahead, Heather. You go.
Go to the next slide.
Oh, sorry.
It's okay. So we wanted to just kind of go into what you're going to discover today, because today's not just another marketing webinar. We're going to talk about business 360, but we're also going to talk about you, because after working with entrepreneurs for nearly 2 decades, oh my gosh, I've discovered most people don't fail because they lack information. They fail because they're trying to build a business while fighting themselves. So if you're that person where you feel like, oh my gosh, I need more info, maybe just take a moment and step back and think about, wait, you might have everything that you need. And you might just be fighting yourself. So, what you'll discover today are the hidden stumbling blocks keeping entrepreneurs stuck. Maybe one of them is you. The 3 secrets most coaching programs never address. The 5 building blocks of a successful business, how to create your own customized blueprint, and then how to build a consistent income.
Yes. And one of the things that we have realized is that most coaches we know are not lacking information. So we live in a wacky world where there's so much information that's out there. And in fact, most likely you are drowning in the information. And that is one of the things that Heather and I have really recognized being in this business for a long time. That you might have taken a lot of courses and you might have read a lot of books, attended a lot of workshops, earned a lot of certifications, but you have one, and you have pieces everywhere, Right. We did a recent event and we had people put together like all their ideas in one place. And man, it was very evident to me that the pieces are very scattered and all over the place. So the problem isn't that you can't quite see all those pieces fit together. So that is really what we're going to talk about is how do we get all of those ideas, pieces together to make sense so that you can grow your business.
Awesome. So enter our background in new home sales. So imagine building a custom home. You've hired the architect, the electrician, the plumber, the framer. Every single person is talented. They know their jobs. They know what they should be doing next, except for the fact they can't find the blueprint. So that's what many businesses can feel like. Like you have the tactics, the funnels, the content, the certifications, the social media strategies, but no clear master plan connecting everything together.
Yeah, well, then this is why you may feel stuck, and kind of what we talked about before, is that this it's not just because you don't know enough. It's because you don't know what to do next. And as a matter of fact, it's interesting that Heather and I were on a call yesterday, and there was a gal that said that exact same thing. Like, how often, I want you to kind of think about how often do you have this moment where you're like, okay, I've got so much to do in my business, but what is the most right next step to take? So because we live in this crazy world where we're bombarded with all these things and all these different ideas, I always say when you have too many options, you have no options. So the real problem is it not the lack of information, it's the lack of direction, the lack of structure, implementation, creativity, and support.
Absolutely. I always talk about, we just watched a show the other day. I don't know if you're all diehard rock addicts like me and my husband have been. But in the words of famous Geddy Lee of Rush, if you choose not to decide, you still have made a choice. And how
Mm.
many days have you started that, right? Like you wake up and you're like, "Oh man, I don't know. I can't decide." You still have made a choice. So when you have too many options, you have no options, like Becky says. So the coaching industry has a blind spot. Now the coaching industry has many blind spots, we're finding out. So most programs will teach you the tactics, the funnels, the content, the visibility, the things, right? But rarely will they connect them to the brain, creativity, self-trust, implementation, community, or even more importantly, one overall 360-degree 5-year business blueprint. These things are not separate. They're connected. I mean, we put them together separately, we put them separately on the screen, but if one thing is missing, the entire structure can become weaker. So we found it very important to pull things together in a business blueprint.
Yeah, and that is seriously, this is one of the things that with us um, having so much experience within this industry, there's three things that we have learned, secrets that the coaching industry is missing. So everything we've talked about today really comes down to these three secrets. It's not because they're the only things that matter, but because they're the three things that we consistently see missing within this industry. So, secret number one is that we start with vision. Most people start with tactics. I don't know if you've experienced that when you're in coaching programs. It's like, hey, let's go right after the tactics. But here's the thing is that when they jump straight into the funnels, the content, the social media, and the marketing strategies, we start somewhere. You kind of need to build the foundation. That's the most important. And if you don't see it, and believe in it and have that vision, then the tactics don't ever, you'll end up spinning your wheels mainly, right? So we do things a little bit differently. And somewhere we start very, very different. We start with the mindset, the brain science, the creativity, and the intuition, and the possibilities, right? Like if you, I remember many times when I've been doing a business plan and putting it together, it is so inspiring when I see the numbers, right? And when I see the amount of people that I can influence. And then it's like, wow, I can really see this come together. So that is where that vision is. Because if your brain is working against you, there's no amount of strategy that's going to fix it. And throughout our programs, we will experience, you'll experience mindset coaching, but creative exercises, which Heather is a pro at, vision work and weekly vision reminders designed to keep you connected to what you're actually building and why you're building it. Because a lot of people, if you don't get your why clear, then there's just no, that's not what's going to, your why is what keeps you motivated.
Absolutely. Well, in secret number two, we talk about the opposite of overwhelm isn't motivation. And we've talked about it's clarity. Just like we talked about the opposite of anxiety isn't calm, it's creativity.
Mhm.
And when I say creativity, I'm not necessarily talking about, sitting down with your oil paints and watching Bob Ross and painting a picture. There's a lot of different ways to access creativity, and it's different for everybody. But we
Mhm.
do talk about those ways of doing it. So, and one of the best ways to get clarity is to have some creativity, get that dopamine hit, and then it wipes the slate clean and you can start. You don't really need more information. You just kind of need help in making sense of everything you already know. That's why we combine teaching with personalized coaching and feedback, and it's customized to you. So instead of trying to force yourself into someone else's blueprint, we help you identify what the next right step is for your business, your strengths, and your goals. Clarity creates confidence, and confidence creates action.
Yeah, and oh, and boy, am I an action person, right?
Yes.
So that's the thing I love about the secret number three is that some people may balk at the word accountability, but I really want to encourage you and invite you to flip the script because secret number three is structure creates momentum and accountability gets it done. Okay, so ACT stands for action creates transformation. Okay. So many programs out there will tell you, oh, here's all the stuff that you need to do. And then you get overwhelmed, like Heather just told you, like, okay, let's deal with the overwhelm. Let's cut through the chase. Now let's find the exact nuggets that are going to give you the profitability and the growth that you're looking for. But we're going to teach you the actual structure. This is where most programs fall apart. So they teach and then you take notes and then life happens and then nothing changes. We believe implementation is where the transformation actually occurs. And this is where I don't know about you, but I grew up at a summer camp for kids and I don't know if it was just in my DNA growing up. I have to have fun. It has to be fun or else I will not do it. So a lot of people are like, oh, accountability and coming and touching and connecting with other people. So important. So that's why we've developed our 3-layer execution solution. It's combined structure, it's accountability, which includes daily touches and a community to help you consistently move forward. Now, how would it feel? I just want you to just kind of sit in this moment for a second. How would it feel every single day? And let me tell you, Heather and I experience this every day. I've had biz buddies for years. But how would it feel to come to a safe place every day for just a few minutes and touch on your business and help inspire somebody else and then they inspire you?
Can
Like,
I say, Becky, that
yes.
I just came back from a trip day before yesterday. And yesterday morning, I knew I had my daily check-in. I had my information ready to go. And sometimes when you come back from a trip, you're like spinning, like you kind of, you feel like you're going to forget to get back into step. And this execution, 3-layer execution solution makes all the difference because I know what to do. And when I start to get distracted, all I do is look at what we talked about and I'm like, oh, okay, yeah, yeah, I know where to go next. I know what to do next. No distraction necessary.
Well, that's
Structure is really freedom.
It really is, and people don't realize, and Heather and I talk about this all the time, that, yes, we can take a couple days off, but when you have the structure and you have that system in place, you just come right back in and you get right back into work. And so many people get lost and they take months off and then they have hard, it's like a diet, right? It's like they have a really hard time getting back on. And so we create a structure, and it's a fun structure to be able to come back and reconnect with what you need to be doing, because success isn't just usually about knowing more. It's about doing what matters most consistently enough to see results. So how many of you, I want you to kind of raise your hand, how many of you really struggle with consistency? Like consistent action. Consistent action. Yes, thank you very much. I know it's in this world where we are pulled from so many different things. So that's what we're all about, is helping you get the consistency in there. Um, and that's what makes this approach differently. We're not just here to help you learn, we're help you to build. And that's exactly what you'll begin experiencing inside of Stop the Insanity. We're going to be letting you know of an event that we have coming up. Not just more information, but it's a practical way to connect the pieces, create clarity, and finally start building a business with momentum. Oh, are you
Nope,
there?
you
Oh,
can
so
hear me.
sorry, you guys. Um, okay, so one of the things that I recognized also during COVID, I'm going to tell you is that I don't know about you, but I was living in Hawaii at the time, and when everybody went to this stage of like stay 6 feet away and go into these this bubble and don't let anybody touch you or see you or breathe on you or anything like that, it really did a disservice for us, because I know for me, this every single, if I look at every single success that I've had in my life, it ties back to connection with others. And so I really want you to think about, how much have you isolated your own self from the things that matter and from the people that matter. So I kind of come back to this reality that only 20% of businesses fail. About 20% of the businesses fail within the first year. About 50% fail within 5 years, and about 65% fail within 10 years. So that is really alarming. And as Heather and I have been looking at more and more statistics about businesses and what creates them to fail and what creates them to succeed, or what causes them to succeed. I always say success leaves clues, right? So when researchers looked at planning entrepreneurs with business plans, okay, this is a literal business plan. Like, I want you to think to yourself, you're in business. I'm assuming you're in business as a mentor or as a coach or some kind of service provider, or else you probably wouldn't be here. But how many of you have a very, very solid, at least a 5-year business plan? What they found is that entrepreneurs with business plans were found to be 260% more likely to launch their business and stay in business. Businesses with plans were about 30% more likely to grow, and approximately 70% of those businesses survived past the 5 years. And that is what we're all about, is as they always say, if you what do you don't plan? If you don't plan, you plan to fail.
Yeah, fail. If you fail to plan, you plan to fail.
Exactly. Yeah, that's exactly what I was saying. I was thinking. So, and that's what we're all about, is creating the plan, the vision, seeing it, and then putting the steps in place and the blocks, the stepping stones in order for you to get to where you need to, the building
Yeah.
blocks.
After what we discovered, I'm going to just read that slide before real quick, just because I
Yes.
really want to emphasize this. Success requires all of it,
Yeah.
all of it. Becky and I have been doing this combined 35 years. What we found is that it's not just strategy. Strategy is critical, but it's not just strategy. And it's not just mindset. Mindset is critical. It's not just accountability, although how are you ever going to get anything done if you don't have some accountability?
Mhm.
It's very difficult. I am here to tell you. And it's not just community. Although I am the biggest cheerleader and I love cheering people on, community is critical, but it's all of it. It's working together. And so that's one of the reasons that we developed this. The problem isn't you. You've been given pieces instead of a plan, right? You've collected all this stuff, but nobody showed you how to put it together. And that's where the frustration begins. You know you're capable. You know you have a good idea. You know that you are meant to help people. You know that you're meant for more. And you're sitting on a valuable experience that you can truly help people by turning that into a sustainable business feels a little blurry because you have all the bits and pieces, you've collected all the stuff, but you've got to be able to fit them together.
Yeah, absolutely. Go ahead.
No, no. Over the years, Becky and I noticed something interesting. They're not struggling because they're incapable or they don't care. You guys, you're highly trained. I know you are. You're deeply committed to helping others. Why are so many of them just kind of stuck? Like maybe they've got a business and it's going pretty well and they know it's time to scale and they're just not quite sure what the next step is going to be. So we discovered there's six common stumbling blocks that'll show up again and again. The first one is direction. They have too many directions, right? The solution to that is a success blueprint, a 360-degree business blueprint. They have no clear roadmap on how it all fits together. The next one is overwhelm. Way too much information, way too many opportunities, so many voices telling them what they should do next. Then there's resistance. Oh, and I'm sorry, the response to overwhelm is clarity. You knew I was going to say that, didn't you? Then there's resistance, and it's not laziness, it's not lack of motivation. It's the natural tendency of the brain to choose what's familiar over what's possible because that's just outside. You've heard the saying, success lies right outside of your comfort zone, right? And the cure to that, the solution to that is to cultivate the brain, understand the brain, and then understand mindset.
Yeah, absolutely. And I know many people, I mean, one of the things that's really important about the stumbling blocks and the solutions is look, everybody that has business has stumbling blocks. And every one of them there's solutions in there. So I want you to kind of think as you're going through and evaluating, like, okay, do I have too many directions? Am I overwhelmed? Am I having resistance? Because that those are normal things that come up in businesses and in our own lives. So it's one of the things that I love to talk about is the structure. So you may have pieces of your business, but no system connecting those pieces together. Systems are what create momentum. And everybody has to start there. So usually you start with, I call it matter unorganized, and then we're going to organize it. So, but then there's also isolation, trying to figure out everything out alone. So second guessing every decision that you have and carrying the weight of an entrepreneur. That is something that solopreneurs deal with all the time. They're like, who do I counsel with? Who do I trust? What coaches do I go to that can get me to where I want to? Then there's also finally alignment. Um, Alignment is a deep down. So many of you might know that you're meant for more and and something meaningful, and you're just like, I just need to get this out of me. I just need to, like, can I please get this business going? Can I please get this connected to the people that need me most? And I get it. I have felt that at times as well in my life. But you have gifts and you have a purpose. And those people that you're truly meant to serve are waiting for you to get off your tush, right? Get into action, get everything organized. And that's the really good news is that every single one of these stumbling blocks has a solution. It has a solution. And the direction becomes the success blueprint. Overwhelm becomes the clarity, right? So when you know that you're overwhelmed, you can be going, okay, I need clarity. How do I get clarity? Get creative, right? And there's solutions to those problems. When you're having resistance, becomes because understanding how your brain works and how to work with it instead against it. And structure becomes the set of the proven building blocks. Isolation. So, what's the opposite of isolation? It's community, connecting with like-minded women who also want to get to that point and want or that are working on their business and having those touches. That's so important. And then using your gifts and being creative in a meaningful impact. Because the goal isn't just simply to build a business. The goal is to build a business that allows you to fully express who you are, serve the people that you are meant to serve, and create a ripple effect, which Heather and I absolutely love, that extends way beyond you. This is a much bigger thing, especially if you feel like you're called to it. And that's exactly what we're doing today. We put in, and one of the things you can do is put in the chat what stumbling blocks that you have that you mostly can relate to when it comes to this.
And that can be hard. A lot of us don't like to talk about what's not going well,
Yeah.
but you have to embrace what's not going well in order to get the solution in gear, right? And so, um, yep, Sarah says overwhelmed to clarity, and I
Yeah.
think that you are so not alone in that, Sarah, and thanks for putting that in there because that is the one that many of us relate to. Um, it's interesting too. A lot of us think that we have a lot of these solutions in place, but if you really think about it, if the stumbling block is still there, is it really in place so that you know exactly where to go to get it fixed? Maybe you do, and maybe you have a lot of these things in place, but most of us have at least one stumbling block, if not more, that is challenging us on a regular basis.
Well,
Um,
and the good news with that, Heather, is that what's beautiful is there is a solution, right? A
yeah.
lot of people get stuck going, oh my gosh, I can't get past this stumbling block. But let's take those stumbling blocks and make them stepping stones so that you can actually get some momentum.
Oh, I love that. Yes, definitely. So I heard this quote, and I'm going to get through this. So, the definition of hell is this: on your last day of earth, the person you became meets the person you could have become. That is the belief of Dan Sullivan, who's a popular author. And it really hit me hard because um, not that I necessarily wanted more money, although, yeah, I'll take it. We all need that consistent income, and that's what some of these solutions working together will help you create that consistent income. And it wasn't that I wanted more recognition, although I do love me a good solid pat on the back, but I realized how many people spend years carrying gifts that they never fully share. And I'll give you just a quick small story. Um, of about, gosh, it's been 12 years ago now. I had cancer. And I am grateful, so grateful I had cancer because the cancer I had was curable with a hysterectomy. I had the hysterectomy, and in the pathology, they found a cancer that would have been incurable had we not caught it first. And I'm so grateful for having that. But when I was recovering from those, I had several surgeries around that time. Um, Thankfully, no chemo or radiation. But one of my cute friends who had really recently had a very traumatic loss in her own life came over and said, "All right, Heather, so what's next?" And I said, "What?" She goes, "What's next? I've never known you to not have another thing going on, another plan, another next step ready to go, and you don't. So what's next?" And I'm like, "Well, recovering from cancer." She goes, "You're recovered. You're recovered. You're on the way. What are you going to do next?" And I'm like, she's right. How many people had I not jumped out of that funk I was in and said, "Wow, I can do the people need to hear from me. I have gifts that God has given me that could bless somebody else. Who am I to not share them? Who am I to keep them under wraps? All the lives that'll never get touched touched because I stayed stuck in that confusion are not going to, they'll be touched now, right? All the transformations that now get to happen because every gift we share gives someone else permission to share their gift. What if the greatest loss isn't what you failed to build, but who you never became?
Yeah, that is so true. And I have thought that about that oftentimes. That we one thing that really breaks my heart is when somebody has so passionate about what they were called to do and the people that they're meant to, but there's this gap, right? They're really, really excited and just want to go serve people, but they can't connect with the people that are out there. And that is the thing, is about bridging that gap. How do we find those right people, and how do those people find you? I mean, that's it's one of the stories that I've shared before, is that who you're looking for is looking for you.
Yes.
And please know that that is important. And one of the things that we, Heather and I are so passionate about is this ripple effect. So when we help you, you help those who you are meant to serve. So it's not just someday. It's not when you learn one more thing, or is it when you have another certification. It's now. It's because the gap between where you are and where you want to be isn't usually your knowledge. It really is the clarity. And the clarity comes from putting together the building blocks and putting together the business plan. So it's becoming the woman who really trusts herself. We want you to be able to trust yourself, use your gifts, serve powerfully. Like, serve powerfully. One of our favorite quotes or sayings is that serve hard, sell easy.
Right,
So,
right.
and build intentionally. Yes.
But I do think it's important to not overserve so much that you don't take care of yourself at the selling part. And I think that those of us in this space often get so focused on, well, I'm just into service mode. I want to serve people. How do I charge for something I'm serving with?
Mhm.
But guess what? For people to pay attention, they get to pay.
Yeah.
And if they're not going to pay, they're generally not going to pay attention. So keep that in mind as you go as well. But what if the ripple effect just started right here, right now? What if you
Yeah.
could become the woman who trusts herself, uses her gifts, serves people powerfully, builds intentionally, and creates meaningful impact? What if that happened right now?
Exactly. Exactly.
So, most programs will teach you what to do, but very few people will help you become who you need to be. Take the
Mm.
mask off and become clear, become confident, become aligned and consistent and connected. Very few programs will teach you how to do those things because we're not suffering from the lack of information. We're suffering from a lack of implementation,
Mhm.
clarity, trusting themselves enough to step forward, a lack of heart. Hello, AI, no heart there. And that's why this matters, not because everyone needs $1 million business, but because someone's waiting for what only you can offer. I love what Becky says. Who you're looking for is looking for you. That is a gorgeous statement and so, so true.
Well, and it really is true. I mean, I many years ago had an experience where we had a room of 500 people. We all closed our eyes and had to find our partner. And it was the most amazing feeling to know that who I was looking for was looking for me. Sometimes I think in business we feel like we're the only ones searching. We're the only ones searching, and we're pushing, and we're looking under every rock, and we're anyone that we meet in the grocery store, it's all the prospects. But guess what? There are people out there that really are looking for people to solve solutions, solve problems, I should say, and that have solutions to their problems. And so, yeah, your life experience matters, and what you have to offer matters. Absolutely. And it is a part of going into the blueprint that we help you create. It helps you create a clear direction, a practical business plan, like practical, not just like some hairy fairy, business plan that's like, oh, that's nice. But no, it's like a business plan that works with your lifestyle, with the way that you want to show up in your business. Like Heather and I, when we come together, we do the exact same things that we teach other people. Is like, what are our non-negotiables? What are our whys? When do we want to work? When do we not want to work? Who do we want to work with? Who do we not want to work with? Those are all the things that you put into a business plan. Also, focus priorities. Like, what are your values? What are your, what are you willing to put up with? What are you not willing to put up with? And the roadmap for growth, a business you can actually execute and execute it with, and this is something that happens. This is what I always say to people is that life happens. Life is always going to happen. And so allowing your business to be flexible enough to some weeks and some days are going to be more heavy on the personal and some days are going to be more heavy on the business. How do we still stay focused? Because success isn't built some random action. It's built from a plan.
Absolutely, it's built from a plan. Plans are great to have, but when you begin your plan with the stumbling blocks that we talked about, the solutions that we talked about, and it becomes an encompassing path instead of just an idea, you know what your next step is at any given time. And that is so powerful. And I learned a lot about this in new home sales. I spent many years as a new home sales agent, and I loved so many things about it. But nobody ever is going to walk onto a dirt lot and say, hey, you know what this place needs? It needs this particular type of granite or quartz or whatever. They're not making those decisions at that time.
Yet,
First comes,
yet.
yeah, that's right, at that time.
Yeah.
But first comes the blueprint, and then the foundation, then the framing, then the systems. Yet in business, people skip the structure completely,
Mhm.
and then they wonder why everything feels exhausting. And that realization changed everything for me. So, years ago, when I was in new home sales management, we were building a luxury model home complex up in Suncrest. So, if you're from Utah, it's this gorgeous place where Salt Lake County and Utah County meet on top of a mountain. It's beautiful, it's luxurious. The homes were beautiful, stunning high-end finishes, gorgeous views. It's the kind of neighborhood that people dream of living in, like build your dream home in your dream neighborhood. But while the homes were under construction, we had this model home complex that we were building, and they were the up level, higher end of what we were offering as a home builder. And while they were under construction, I noticed separation cracks in the foundation, similar to what you see in the picture on the right. And then during framing, more cracks appeared. I brought it to upper management, but we were reassured everything's fine. Soils test had passed, and that seemed to be like the litmus test for what's going to be okay, right? But the sheetrock went up, and now the cracks were everywhere. I particularly remember one up in a stairwell, like up in the corner. And I was like, that is not right, you guys. It's not right. But by this point, the company had already invested like close to $1 million in this two-home project. And before we knew it, the homes were painted, wallpapered, decorated. They were gorgeous. Flags were up, landscaping was in. We were good to go. And then we were ready for the final. City inspector came and he shut the whole thing down. Every home had to be demolished. Both of those homes were a total loss. Eventually, they discovered deep beneath the surface, the developer had filled the land with all kinds of trash and debris and scraps and brush. And under the weight of the homes, everything compressed and the foundation failed. And I think businesses collapse the same way. Like people will focus on, oh, you got to have the website. You got to do the website first, and you got to get the branding right. Get some pretty business cards. You got to get some this or that. You need funnels. You got to have funnels, you know? And those are all things that are really important to have. But we can tend to decorate confusion, or excuse me, yeah, decorate confusion with logos, right? We have a little bit of confusion, but if we have a really nice logo, we might be good, right? They wallpaper over lack of clarity with a little bit more content. They'll keep adding strategies to businesses that were never structurally sound to begin with. And before you know it, the weight of the business that you're trying to grow is compressed and smushing down on soil that is underlying with debris and trash and things that were not necessarily needed first, right? What you needed first was a solid place to start. But eventually the cracks are always going to show up.
Yeah, I love that analogy because it goes right into why we are so passionate about the building blocks, because you do need to know where, what step goes in what order, right? And that foundation is so important. I love that story, Heather, because it's just such a great illustration of why a lot of businesses don't make it either. So what we've discovered is the sustainable business isn't built by doing more. Okay, so this is a different way of building a business. It's not just the blocks themselves that matter, it's the order, because sequence matters. In home buildings, it's the same thing, just like what Heather just talked about, is nobody starts with the roof. That may be that may be a more advanced move, right? Nobody installs countertops before the foundation is poured. And actually, just this last couple of days ago, my husband and I were doing concrete, and I was thinking of this analogy, right? When you're putting the foundation in, then you got to let it cure. You got to do it right. And there was a couple things I did wrong on the concrete. My husband's like, "You did it wrong." I'm like, "I don't know. I didn't know." Right. And so sometimes we don't, it's not necessarily that we're intentional about it. It's just that we don't know what we don't know. And nobody also hangs drywall before the framing is complete. So each step supports the next, and the business works the same exact way. That's why we call this the blueprint, because the blueprint gives you confidence. The blueprint removes guesswork. The blueprint helps you know what to focus on today without worrying about everything else tomorrow. I think that's something that too trips a lot of people up, is they're like, "Oh, but I need to know." No. One day, this is what you need to know. And when you have a blueprint, you stop saying, "What do I do next?" And you start saying, "I know exactly where I'm headed." You pull your blueprint out, your business plan. What's the power of that building block? It's not perfection, and it's not hustling, it's not doing all those things. It's just getting a clear path built one block at a time. And that's exactly why we've created this event of the Stop the Insanity event that we're going to tell you about in just a second, because understanding the blueprint is super powerful, but experiencing the blueprint. I'm going to say this one more time. Experiencing a well-written blueprint and being able to experience the structure of execution solution that we have, it is absolutely transformational.
It totally is. And I would love to encourage you to just for 1 minute, just imagine what would it be like, say six weeks down the road, 6 months down the road. Let's say 6 months. And you look back at this time and you think, oh my gosh, I was so confuselated back then. I was like, I don't know. I don't know which I have all the things and I don't know which way to go. And is there a day that goes by, Becky, that you don't talk to somebody that's like, I've got all the coaches, I've got all the ideas, I've got all the things, I just don't really know what the next step is. And we talk to people like that all the time. So imagine for 1 minute, it's 6 months down the road. You can even close your eyes if you want for a minute. And you have that confidence. You have fulfilled your blueprint. You know exactly what steps that you're going to take next. And you are so grateful that for the steps that you took 6 months before.
Yeah.
And you knew. Go ahead.
Yeah, no, and that really is, imagine being there in 6 months where you've got the clarity, you've got the strong foundation, you've got the drafted master plan, right? And you've got the new connections, you've got the community and the consistent income flow. That's the whole thing, is that Heather and I always say breaking even in business or putting too much money out and not in is not a business. Now, granted, there are some times where you're going to need to do that because that's part of growing a business, but we want you to get you to profitability as soon as possible because we know the stronger you are financially, then you can always go back and give back. I just
Yeah,
had a conversation the other day with a gal, the same exact thing. Actually, I think it was just yesterday. Was it just yesterday? Yeah.
I think it was
But
yesterday.
yeah, I can't believe it. But just yesterday, I had this conversation with somebody, and she's just like, "Oh my gosh, I'm so frustrated, and I want to start with this really low, because I just want to help all these people." And I'm like, "No, no, no, honey, no, no, no. I get it. You've got a giving heart, but we've got to get you solid financially and get you to the point where then you can always give back. And if you want to do scholarships and do all kinds of things, then that's fine. But let's get you solid and moving forward. And that's really what it is. And that's why we like to have people envision 6 months from now, how would it feel to have a business that's flowing, that the money's coming in, you're influencing people, that you've got a plan, you know where you're heading, even if you adjust it. Plans are to be adjusted as well. It's written in sand, not cement. Thank
That's
goodness.
right.
But
That's
yeah,
right.
so it's important. And so you might be kind of thinking like, is this for me? And this is yeah. So um, and if that's for you, and we kind of like to say, you might be thinking, is it right for me to attend this event we're going to be telling you about in just a minute? But might be you, is that you have ideas, experience, and gifts to share. You feel overwhelmed by all the conflicted advice. You know enough to get started, but aren't sure what comes next or what's your next step. That's the one thing, is what's your next step? What's the next right step? You're tired of collecting information without seeing results, and you want a business that feels aligned with your mission, your vision, and it's sustainable. And you're ready for clarity, structure, accountability, and community. And I would like to add on to there a lot of fun. Like, yes,
Yeah.
yeah, because that's who I am, right? That's who I am. So let me just tell you kind of a little bit about some of the people that we've worked with. Heather and I have, worked with so many people over the years, but I want to tell you about somebody recent. In January, I started working with a gal, Edie Morgan, and she is a business owner. She's been in business, I think it's 7 years, if I remember correctly, maybe longer, 7, 8 years. And she does fundraisers for kids, and they raise money for college students, for activities, all kinds of different things. So she sells these pastries, and she usually has so many different organizations sign up every year, but she came and started working with us with the system that we teach, and she drastically increased her productivity. I think it was by 30%. She was shocked. She was like, "Becky, I've been doing this for so long and I've never been able to move the needle so far." And I said, "Well, honey, it's because it's the daily touch. It's the accountability. You actually have a plan and you have an execution and you have a community of people who are not going to let you fail." And it was one of the connections that I put her in connection with, that's going to like seriously knock her whole or blow up her business, because he has so many connections. So you just never know when you're in this community, and when we have that servant um, attitude and way of doing business, that we want to help each other. And so she was doing that. And on top of that, she had a personal goal to lose, I think, 30 pounds. I think she's 28 pounds um, that she's lost now because of the structure that she put in place. And that is the thing, is once you learn the structure, you can use it for life.
What was so cool about Edie's story is I wouldn't have thought about her business model fitting into what it is that we
Yep.
do. And it was a beautiful fit because really, when it comes down to it, we all want to provide transformation and we all want to provide our knowledge, help others with the knowledge and the abilities that we have. Same thing with Becky. Becky and I actually met during coach training with Dr. Martha Beck, night, well, 20 years ago now. Holy
Becky
Moses.
Hart, not me.
Yeah, yeah, Becky Hart, different Becky. And Becky and I have just stayed in touch over the years through life's ups and life's downs and life's challenges. And the thing that she said about me that I was so touched by, but she's right. My superpower is to see potential and promise and possibilities in you before you even see them sometimes.
Mm.
And that is something that I feel like I really was helpful with Becky. And then I helped her zero in on what she wanted and then focused on those action steps so that she could stay clear on where she was going. And she's done remarkably well and helped transform scores of people at this point, and that's so cool. And same with Debbie. I actually met Debbie on an academic front. She was an instructor for a business college, and I actually went and presented some business coaching and actually blueprint creating to her class. And that's how I very first met her. And then she has evolved into where she became an entrepreneur, and she's a psychic medium. And I thought, wow, could what I know and what I do help psychics also? And you know what? If it is a business, we can help and we can help you do that. So Debbie says I'm a plethora of information and ideas. And working with her, with me, that's me. You get compassion and a lot of laughter because I'm fun too, and hope and pure recognition of your talents and your gifts. That's that potential that I see in you.
I know, I love it. And there's a lot of other people that we've worked with too over the years, and it's hard to whittle it down.
It is
So
hard to whittle it down, and we want to make sure that every experience is a customized
yeah.
experience. We're not the kinds of coaches that will say, "Okay, go watch these 10 videos, and when you're done watching those 10 videos, you'll have everything you need." That's not who we are.
No.
That's not how we work because everybody is different, every business is different, every path is different, every situation is different. And so we want to make sure that we always honor the you that you are because you're freaking amazing and we just know it. Then the purpose of Stop the Insanity is to really help you experience this 360-degree business blueprint that we're talking about. Together, you're going to learn how your brand may be working against you, because it happens, and more importantly, how to make it work for you. We're going to really focus on those solutions. You're going to participate in vision and possibility exercises designed to reconnect you with your gifts, your purpose, and what is truly possible for your business. We'll help you create clarity around where you're headed, identify the next right steps so you will always know what it is that you need to do next instead of trying to tackle everything at once. We're going to simplify a lot, and you're going to begin stripping away unnecessary complexity and focusing on what actually matters. You're actually going to work on messaging that helps the right people recognize themselves in your words and understand the value that you bring. Perhaps most importantly, you're going to do it surrounded by other women, building, cheering, supporting, and helping right alongside you. Because one of the biggest obstacles entrepreneurs face is isolation. And we feel like we should be able to do this on our own. Well, yeah, you probably can. But is it going to be the best way for you? No, it's not. In my opinion, it is not. And when you're in a room with people who understand your journey, something powerful happens. Ideas expand and confidence grows and momentum builds. Throughout the event, Becky and I are going to be coaching and teaching and answering questions and providing feedback. So you don't leave with more confusion. You actually will leave with more clarity. So our goal is simple. We want you to walk away knowing exactly where you are, where you're going, and what comes next because once you have clarity, everything gets easier. Not perfect, not instant, but clear. Clarity just changes everything.
So the Stop the Insanity was actually born because of Heather and I. We might kind of wonder like, why did we call this? Um, Stop the Insanity is because we've been in this industry, like we've mentioned multiple times, a very long time. And we keep seeing the same thing happening, which is the frustration, the overwhelm, the disconnect, and then people just want to give up or they go back to jobs and whatever. And we're like, look, this is stop the insanity and build a business that flows. You know that you're in a flow when you're like so excited. You wake up in the morning and you're like, oh, I can't wait to go serve and do this and that and create this and do that. So this is a live virtual event. And it's an experience, right? You get to come experience the methodology that we teach. You get to experience community. You get to experience connection. So, so we know that there's brilliant women and talented women, experienced women, women with certifications, courses, books, ideas, gifts, an enormous heart for helping others. That's what we love to attract, right? Is givers. And almost all of you out there are saying on some version, I know I should be further along by now. Like, I don't know if you found yourself saying that. I have, because when I'm looking at other people, I'm like, I should be further along. Or I've learned so much, but I still don't know what to focus on. Or my personal favorite is I have 47 tabs, which I was telling Heather this morning. I probably have double that, but because I've got three different screens. And anyway, 47 tabs open right now, and every one of them is telling me to do something differently. And honestly, we have felt exactly the same way. So everywhere you look, someone is promising the next magic solution. I want you to know that is not us. We're not here to promise you some crazy outcome. We want you to build a solid business. Um, we want you to scream yourself like, stop the insanity. That's literally where that came from, because the problem isn't that women need more. We just don't need more. The problem is that you're drowning in that information and starving for clarity. So, and also they're surrounding themselves with experts. You might find yourself with a lot of experts, but you're lacking that, like, where's my blueprint, right? And collecting a lot of puzzle pieces. So we created the Stop the Insanity experience for you. It's going to be August. In August 20, I think it's 26. We'll go to that.
26, 27, 28.
Yes, August 26th. So we want to invite you to join us on this journey of the 3-day event. Mark your calendars. Make sure that you clear the decks, as we say,
Yes.
and come. It's only $97. That's it for 3 days. And for being on this webinar and coming to the very end, we also want to allow you to bring a friend for free. So you can do half off. You can do a BOGO. You can be like, hey, look, I'll pay this 97. You come for free, whichever works for you. But yeah, clear your decks. Make sure you come and be ready for a lot of fun, a lot of work, a lot of excitement, new insights. Really that 360 look at your business and what's getting in your way and how we can overcome them with the solutions that we provide.
I love that Sarah said she knows a lot about education. She's learning how money and business works. It's been a fire hose of information for that past 5 years. And that word fire hose really speaks to that drowning aspect that we were talking about. And if you think about a fire hose, oh my gosh, the amount of pressure that those things carry. And that's what the stress is all about, isn't it? It's like this flood of information in your face and all this stress and all this anxiety and all this And what we are designing for you is a blueprint that will help you stop that insanity, help you stop that fire hose. It's structure, it is freedom, it is putting things in the right direction. We don't want your business
Grounding.
grounding, yeah, because we don't want it to feel like survival.
No.
Right? I always, like I told you the little cancer story, and I mean, it's not a little story. It's a big story. It's a big thing. I get that. But they're like, oh, Heather, you need to come to this survivor support group and you could contribute so much. And I'm like, yeah, but I don't want to be in that victim mindset. I don't want to
Mhm.
be just a survivor. I want to thrive. I want to get past it. And same with business. I don't want it to just limp along and be confusing and overwhelming and a pain in the neck. I want to know exactly. It should feel like structure, not survival. And that structure is, like I said before, freedom.
Yeah, and like we said in the Stop the Insanity, build a business that flows. When your business and your purpose is flowing, you wake up on Monday morning and you're like a racehorse, like, let's go.
Yeah.
And that is how you know that you're in the flow. And that's when you know that you're in the right place and you know what you're doing. You're seeing results from your efforts because there's no better feeling in this world when you know that you're called to serve certain people and those people respond. And when they
Yes.
start doing what it is that you teach them or the expertise, and all of a sudden you're like, oh, I'm seeing the fruits of my labors. So we want to go again, invite you to sign up. There's a QR code right there. You can scan the QR code, sign up for August 26th, 27th, 28th. We'd love to have you as a guest and make sure you bring a friend with you. It's so much better. And I'm not just saying this, this is not some gimmicky thing to say. I honestly believe, Heather and I are also, we have coaches that coach us. And it makes
Yeah.
all the difference in the world when you have a community of people and you're like, hey, what did you think about that? And what do you think about this? And this big aha that happened. So all of these things are going to happen during this event. And when you have a friend that you can call after it's over and being like, what do you think? What did I say? It's so much more powerful. So we're really inviting you not only to sign up, but to bring a friend for free. And thank you so much for joining us today on today's free masterclass. We want to welcome you into our home, into your business. We want you to transform what you have right now, build on it. Let's build something that's strong and that will last. So thank you so much for joining us today, and we'll see you next time.